I'm Gloria, and this is Becky. And we're just going to talk about, can we go to PowerPoint first? We're going to just talk about an organization called Compassion International, and it's like a child sponsorship organization, and they advocate for children who are in need economically, spiritually, financially. You know, so me and Becky, and I know some of you have been a part of Compassion, and we've been sponsoring children. Both of us, our child is in Africa, and they've actually asked churches across America to talk about this and to bring awareness and challenge the churches to also, you know, try to help the children, those who are in need. PowerPoint. So just a little history. I've actually found out that the beginnings was by a pastor from Chicago. His name is Pastor Everett Swanson, and in 1952 he went to South Korea to minister to the American troops who were serving in the Korean War. But instead of, you know, doing that, he saw a lot of orphans, a lot of Korean orphans, and a lot of them were dying, and they were war orphans. So instead of that, he tried to get funds, and he made an orphanage with 35 orphans, and so that's how it started out. And as it grew, I think it was in 2009 where they had 1 million sponsors for 1 million children. And that's him right there in the 1950s. And so we just want to show you a short video about more about this.
My name is Kailyn Carolina Rodriguez. I'm 9 years old. I live in this house with my mom and dad and my 2 sisters. My mom gets sick a lot. It makes me sad and I cry for her. I pray for her because I want her to feel better.
We often don't have enough money for food, and life is hard. I do get sick a lot, and I worry what will happen to my children if I get really ill. Kailyn tells me, "Mom, keep going. I want her to have a different life, not to live like this."
La historia de
Kailyn's story is one we see again and again in this community. Poverty is extreme here, and it is the children who suffer most. And so, when we reach out to a child like Kailyn through our compassion program here at the church, it is really about changing a child's life, giving a child love, hope, and the things they need to learn and grow.
I've asked my mom. I've been waiting a long time and still don't have a sponsor. If I had a sponsor, I had them and tell them I love them.
The first time I saw Kailyn's picture, something about her just drew me in, realizing that here's a real child with a name and a family, and that I can get involved in that and change that story for her.
To a child in poverty, having a sponsor sends a message that it's truly life-changing. It says, you are known, your life matters, you are valued and loved.
I think Kailyn's major challenge would be feeling like she's worth anything. One of the worst things about poverty is that it steals from kids the one thing that God wants to bless them with so much of, and that's hope. So the fact that she's lived to the age of 10 in a hopeless situation it's not right. And so I'm so excited that her life is about to change.
Kailyn has been coming to the church for over a year without a sponsor. I know she has been praying for one, and today it is my great joy to give her the good news. God has answered her prayers.
I think Kailyn would be just overjoyed to be able to share that news finally with her family. I would imagine it would be a very joyful time. grows up through the Compassion Child Development Project, it'll change the way she sees everything. She will have confidence. She'll have, hopefully, a relationship with Jesus. I think she'll be crying some happy tears. There's no doubt that, well, none of us can change the entire world. We can each change the world for one child in need, and there are children who need us. There's a child who needs you. So I would encourage everyone to rush out to that sponsorship table and look at those kids and find one that needs you, because one of them does.
So I didn't know that the millionth person was in 2009, and I also started sponsoring in 2009, so it's kind of cool to hear that. But yeah, I've been, oh gosh. Yeah. So that's my sponsor child. Her name is Shanique. And for some time, I was thinking about sponsoring somebody, but just wasn't sure which organization, whatnot. I forgot how I heard about Compassion. But anyway, I went on their website, and you can kind of browse and see who you want to sponsor. And I don't know, I thought she was cute, and I wanted someone from Africa, and I don't know why. And her birthday's on Valentine's Day. I was just like random reasons, but you know, I chose her. And she had ears like mine, so I was like, okay, there's some kind of kinship there somehow. Anyway, I was sponsoring her for some time, 2009, and then in 2012 there was like the African conference through UBF, and so my dad asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, oh yeah, actually I'd love to go, and I'd love to meet my sponsor child if that's possible. So then I reached out to Compassion, and you actually have to let them know like 6 to 8 weeks in advance, because it's a really big deal for your sponsor child and for the whole family to know that you're coming, because they will prepare like no tomorrow. And so when I got there, I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure if like what the meeting would be like, but when I got there, it was a whole process. They picked me up. It took like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to get there. They had translators for me. When I got there, there were more kids, but there's like a line of kids who were like clapping and cheering, and they're singing. And then I was like, oh my gosh, is that her? Like she was holding a poster, and I was like, no surprise, but I cried. Yeah, and so there's Rebecca's song, and the entire group, you're most welcome to Lantama, I don't know if this is accurate, but yeah, so that's the educational center that goes in. It's the school. So it's like the first thing that they did was they introduced me to the pastor and his wife, and they showed me her records, her files, her medical records, her educational records, how she's doing in school. So they're really good at yeah, just updating me, even through mails, you know, and she writes to me, I write to her, and it's pretty frequent. Yeah, they had this whole like meeting, and I introduced myself, and then the kids like worshipped and praised. So it was really beautiful. That's them like worshiping God. They're so cute. Those are my translators. So after visiting the center, we went to her house, and Shanique was actually abandoned by her mother and her father, and so her grandmother raises her, along with a bunch of other village kids who kind of just like leave the kids with her, like they abandon them and they just leave them by her doorsteps. And yeah, so those are some of the kids that the grandma raises. And I brought like a pashmina for her. So she's wearing this yellow one, and she went crazy. She was like dancing, and she's so happy. So, you know, here it's like $10, but to her it's like $1 million, and she's just so thankful. And yellow was her favorite color, but it was just cool. And she's wearing a New York City shirt. Just gave her gifts, and I actually, when I got out of the car, the whole family was screaming and like so happy to meet me, just because it shows how thankful they were that, you know, Shanique is getting education, she's getting, you know, medical help, and she's growing up as a strong young girl. So that was really very beautiful. Yeah, that's actually, I had a picture of some pigs. I forgot to put it in, but that was something that I gave as a Christmas gift, and that pig actually was pregnant and it had 4 more piglets. So like they had even more, you know, an abundance of pork. Good for them. And actually, another interesting thing is, so when I went to the UBF chapter in Uganda, there are actually like a few people who were compassion children. Like they were sponsored as kids, and then they were able to go to college, and then able to, you know, become medical doctors or whatever they decided to be. So practically, they can't really come here and make it big in America. I mean, I'm being practical here, my practical mind, but what I started to have vision for my child was that she be raised well in Uganda and be a good citizen there, and then be, great to society, in her society, and, reach out to people for the Lord in Uganda. So I think that's a really great way for us to really have world mission, I guess, even through compassion, sponsoring a child from day one. And I continue to sponsor her. We continue to write to each other. If not through snail mail, then even through the internet, you can type and then attach pictures. When I got there, she showed me all the things that I sent her. So it was like kind of cool to see the things that I wrote 3 years, prior to that. I really encourage you guys to do it. It's really like, you're just, you can do automatic payment. You don't even know your money is going out, but like, it's just the relationship that you build with this child over the years is really meaningful. So yeah, and to even visit is, even better. So anyway, I encourage you all.
Thank you, Becky. I actually started because Becky did a presentation on it a few years ago, and that's when I started to sponsor a child. But it's very personal, and I think it's just really good to share with Jesus with them and just talking with them. So it's $38 a month. It's $38 a month, and that covers all the medical expenses and education, nutritious meals, things like that. So we're actually going to have a booth outside of the sanctuary where you can look at, we have photos of some children, or if you want to just ask their questions, we can be out there. So thank you for listening, and we challenge you guys to really think about this and pray about this, that Jesus is putting this on your heart to do it just for one child. It's a big difference for them.